Welcome to the second episode of AREB Bites, a video series that will document the milestones and highlights of AREB, an acronym that stands for the Arabic Roots of European Biology, a three-year research project funded by the European Union within the framework of the Marie Skłodowska-Curie Actions. My name is Tommaso Alpina. I'm a historian of philosophy and science in the Islamic world and the principal investigator of this three-year research project. In the last episode, we saw that Avicenna's major contribution to the history and philosophy of science was the creation of an influential yet neglected model for biological investigation centered on the study of the living organic body. Today, we'll answer the following question. Where can we actually see this model at work? My immediate answer is that zoology, the science of animals, is where Avicenna embarks on this brand new investigation. Avicenna's zoology is an old science, inherited from Aristotle, with a brand new subject matter, namely the living organic body, broadly conceived to include also humans. Zoology, after Aristotle and his immediate followers, had remained at the margins of philosophical reflection. Avicenna revives it. Although he is not the first to write about animals after Aristotle, he certainly is the most prominent example of how to integrate zoology within a global investigation of nature. This fact contributes to dispelling the myth of the disappearance of zoology after Aristotle and its re-emergence only in the 13th century thanks to Albert the Great. I said that zoology is an old science. Avicenna's zoological enterprise closely follows Aristotle's. He composed a book of animals, the Kitab al-Hayawan, organized in 19 treatises, the very same number as Aristotle's Book of Animals. That is the Greco-Arabic translation of Aristotle's three major works on animals, Historia Animalium, De Partibus Animalium, and De Generatione Animalium, which circulated as one single work in the Arabic tradition under the title Book of Animals. Avicenna himself, at the beginning of the work, tells the reader that he will follow Aristotle as his model. This fact led scholars to believe that Avicenna's Book of Animals was overall unoriginal and ultimately uninteresting. The Book of Animals and Zoology features at the end of the natural philosophy of the Book of the Cure or Healing, the Kitab al-Shifa, Avicenna's magnum opus, which is traditionally considered the most Aristotelian among his philosophical summae. Therefore, they believed that including zoology at the end of natural philosophy was a way of presenting Aristotle's philosophical project as comprehensively as possible. However, considering zoology an interesting, unoriginal, and even dispensable part of Avicenna's investigation of nature seems at odds with how imposing the exposition on animals is. Remember, 19 treatises. So why would Avicenna put so much effort in a work if he was not interested in its content? So my guess, and this is one of AREB's core research hypotheses, is that Avicenna assigns a specific function to zoology and the Book of Animals within his Book of the Cure. I do believe that Avicenna's Book of the Cure is a unicum. However, it is so not because it is his most Aristotelian summa, but rather because Avicenna conceives it, or at least a part of it, that of natural philosophy, together with another work of his, the Canon of Medicine, the Kitab al-Kanun fi Tibb, this incredible handbook of Galenic medicine. Avicenna's idea is that the former, natural philosophy, has to ground the latter, medicine, by providing it with its theoretical underpinnings. In the second book, chapter 7 of his Book of Demonstration, the Kitab al-Burhan, speaking of the subordination of sciences, Avicenna writes that a part of natural philosophy, he doesn't name it, investigates the organic body without qualification, while medicine investigates the human organic body insofar as it is healthy or sick. As you might have guessed by now, in my reconstruction, this part of natural philosophy Avicenna doesn't name is zoology. Therefore, zoology provides medicine with its theoretical framework. That is a global investigation of the organic body, that body on which physicians practice their own art. However, I don't want to give the impression that I interpret Avicenna's inclusion of zoology in his system of science in a teleological way. Zoology is a science in its own right, with its specific subject matter, the organic body, and a precise method, a combination of demonstration and direct observation. If natural philosophy has to ground medicine, the two disciplines must exhibit sufficient uniformity, a common ground that marks the transition from the higher one, philosophy, to the lower one, medicine, smoother and easier. However, at the time of Avicenna, but this holds true also before and after him, philosophy and medicine represent two distinct traditions, with their own authorities, mainly Aristotle and Galen, which occasionally intersect, overlap and conflict. Now, zoology comes here to help. It offers the common ground to reconcile these two disciplines, precisely in a field where philosophers and physicians disagree the most, the organic living body. Avicenna's main attempt in his Book of Animals is to reconcile philosophical tenets with observational data. In this perspective, it is no surprise that he replaces the outdated anatomy of Aristotle's De Partibus Animalium with self-quotations from his canon of medicine, which, as we have seen, is heavily based on Galen's teachings and discoveries. Avicenna's strategy to reconcile in the Book of Animals philosophy and medicine consists of two moves. The first move is to solve disagreements between philosophers and physicians on topics that have a profound theoretical implications for the structural integrity of both systems, such as the role and function of the chief organs, the brain, the heart, the liver, or the issue as to whether both the female and the male have semen. The second move is the transfer of purely medical principles, such as humors or pneumata, spirits, from medicine to philosophy, in order to avoid any conflict of competencies between the two, about which one is entitled to deal with what has the status of principle. But we'll deal with these two moves in detail in the next episodes. By now, it should be clear why zoology, the science of animals, is an old science with a new subject. Avicenna revives Aristotelian zoology, but updating its content to fit his new agenda, namely building a science of the organic body, of course always under the auspices of Aristotle. I didn't forget the question I raised at the end of the first video. Tune in to find out the answer in the next episode.